So, good morning to all of you. I hope all of you are doing well today, and it's a very exciting time for us today as we are going to celebrate and talk about wood. World Wood Day is a day dedicated to highlight and raise awareness to the significance of wood and its sensible uses in construction and design. To recognize the importance and limitless possibilities of wood in architecture and design, Surfaces Reporter and PLY Reporter has come together to celebrate World Wood Day in association with the Center for Green Building Materials and Technology, Institute of Wood Science and Technology, and Indian Council of Forestry Research and Education, along with our esteemed panelists, architect Neelam Manjunath, Dr. MP Singh, and Dr. Penny Kuriakose. Dr. Penny Kuriakose is a conservation architect, designer with projects ranging from residential, resorts, institutional projects noted for its sustainable practices and work with natural materials like timber, stone, and brick. In his quest as a creative person, Benny Kuriakose has traveled diverse paths and translated the philosophy of his mentor, Laurie Baker, many times over. A retrospective of his work reflects his perseverance to transform those same concepts of cost effectiveness, conservation, and sustainable architecture, whether be it in design for personal or public spaces. So, welcome, Dr. Kuriakose, and we will be shortly seeing a brief presentation by him on timber in architecture. Architect Nilam Manjunath, she has been a speaker on our forums several times, and I have seen her in several international forums talking about bamboo and so passionately, day and night she's working on several projects. She is the CEO and founder of the Center for Green Building Materials and Technology, as well as Mansaram Architects Bangalore. She's also the chairperson of Karnataka chapter of the Bamboo Society of India. She's an architect, planner, scientist, activist, theoretician, and with degrees in both science and architecture. She has been advocating usage of sustainable materials and technologies, and her conviction for using bamboo as a sustainable material is seen in all her projects, and her commendable works has definitely earned her several national and international awards. So, welcome, architect Nilam Manjunath, and we will be seeing a brief presentation from her on bamboo is the new wood. Finally, Dr. MP Singh, who is trying to connect, he's somewhere in some forest area where there is connectivity issues, and he has been trying to connect several times. He's the current director of Indian Wood Science Institute and Indian Council of Forestry Research and Education. His former role was as director of IPRITI, Indian Ploughed Industries Research and Training Institute, Bangalore. So, we have such a set of so much of experts with us today, and I am really excited to hear more from them. So I would like to request Dr. Penny Kuriakose to please start with his presentation.
Pratika, thank you for giving me an opportunity to talk about timber. Wood is the word when the timber is live, or as it is in the tree. So as a building material, we always call it timber. The tree is dead, and then it becomes useful for using it as as a building material. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen. Timber as a building material.
Yes. So I'm just I'll quickly. I think I have about 8-10 minutes. So for presenting, so timber has a lot of properties. Each timber is different. For example, for building construction, you use certain species of timber. For burning dead bodies, you use mango tree, which has certain unique properties. When you make toys, it is another timber species, other timber species which is used. So for each purpose, there is a difference. So there is no universal timber, although we consider use teak for many other purposes. When you use timber for rafters, the strength is very important. So there are so many timber species which are, I mean, teak is used quite a bit in many of the old buildings, historic buildings, but there are timber species like ironwood, which is called Mesophoria, which has more than 50% strength more than teak. When we use it, the strength becomes the important criteria. But when you use timber for furniture, then the grains become very important. The smoothness becomes important. So there are, I mean, I think the most expensive timber in the world is ebony, might be next to sandalwood. Uh, because ebony is not in the market, only very rarely you find it. So the prices are when the timber is available. Rosewood is there, teakwood is there. And one of the things, this is a building which is at least 100 years old. So I find bamboo being used, and the bamboo is used in this building is old. As far as durability is concerned, in one sentence, timber will last forever if it is not attacked by insects and fungi. It is a very durable thing. And many of the archaeological excavations, they find timber materials. But one of the difficult things to work with timber in a traditional way is to look at the joinery. There are a lot of joinery details, even within a small slate like in Kerala, to join the wall plates. There are different methods. Tamil Nadu has a different joinery system. So other parts of India has a different joinery system. So the traditional craftsmen used to know these things, and that is the way they used to work. And now, coming back to sustainability, because we talk about sustainable architecture, green architecture, etc., timber is considered to be the most sustainable building material, especially when you don't cut the virgin forest to make timber. The climate change is happening, global warming is happening, the sea level is rising. And trees are the only thing which can reverse the climate change. All other steps that we talk about in green buildings and sustainable architecture will only slow down the process. But trees are the only thing which can reverse the climate change or put it in a negative manner, because trees absorb carbon dioxide and convert them into oxygen. And it should be ideally sourced from plantations, not by cutting down the virgin forest. I mean, there are huge plantations in many countries. And as I said, trees can reverse the climate changes by natural process using chlorophyll. They convert carbon dioxide into oxygen. By that, so if we plant more and more trees, I mean, Singapore's as a country is making huge efforts to plant millions of trees in their country. So if we make a grand effort in all these countries to plant trees, including wasteland, it doesn't matter whether it is teak or X or Y such species, any timber species which can convert carbon dioxide into oxygen. All the trees convert carbon dioxide into oxygen. So if they plant in all our wastelands, increase the footage of the trees, then we can definitely try to reverse, but it is a huge area planting which is required. The advantage of using timber in building, why I said timber is the most sustainable building material, is that once you use the timber, the carbon dioxide is never emitted. Carbon gets locked in timber. You burn the timber, carbon dioxide is emitted. You allow the timber to decay, again carbon dioxide is emitted. This is what we learn in carbon cycle in schools. So if you use timber in buildings, the carbon gets locked in buildings. It does not able to escape into carbon dioxide. So it's a very sustainable way of using timber. And that's why I said it is the most sustainable building material that you can use, and it's something which can be renewed. You can grow more and more trees and use more and more timber in buildings, means the carbon gets locked in this thing. All my projects has extensive use of timber because I believe that it is the most sustainable building material. It's not that I use teak always. I use all kinds of timber species depending on the requirement. This is a building where a lot of timber has been used. You can just see this is coming up in Wayanad, in a coffee estate up in the hills, Western Ghats. So even the timber is used for flooring, roofing, columns. So most of the areas, I mean, doors, windows. So I use timber as a very expressive element. I mean, here the timber has been used for the ceiling because I think it is very sustainable. And this is a resort, this is a restaurant. The first floor is only uses timber, except in a small area where the toilets and kitchen is coming. A very small area we used masonry. Otherwise, the roof is timber, the walls are timber, and so all this entire resort. I mean, most of the buildings. I mean, whether it's residential or commercial, we try to incorporate the use of timber. Also, it is very important to conserve the timber buildings. I mean, this is a building which we have conserved about 2 years ago. In Kerala, traditionally, in many parts of Kerala, the buildings used to be built only with timber walls, timber roofs, and the mangrove tiles or the thatch as the roof. So this building was conserved, and so there is a courtyard in the building. And we have used timber even to make the kitchen shelves and trying to match it with, repaired it with timber. You can see the timber columns and the timber walls which has been repaired. And when you try to do the repair, we apply the rules of conservation. See, for example, here you can see that minimum replacement of the timber has happened. As I said, if it cannot be attacked by insects and fungi, it will last forever. So here also we have done minimum repairs of the timber things. The columns are still the old. Many of the people try to demolish such buildings because they don't know how to repair. Lack of knowledge or ignorance is a problem. And one of the things which I try to talk about timber, it's not come into use. I made a visit to London Design Week a few years ago, and I found many of the buildings being built using cross-laminated timber. They call it short in CLT. Timber, mostly pine timber. This is a sample of the cross-laminated timber, which is, factories are there in Germany, Belgium, US, Canada, Austria. This sample is from an Austrian factory where each ply is 22 thickness. And so use 5 or 7, I think maximum 9 things depending on the requirements. And buildings are more or less entirely built with timber. So I personally have seen this building. These are some of the buildings in London which I've seen made out of timber. So more than 80% of the parts are built with timber, except glass and very little toilet fixtures and some of those things, mostly timber. And they are frame structures. There are so many advantages of using this. One is the sustainability aspect. The second is that structure is very light because of the foundation cost is coming down much lower because there are no heavy steel or concrete in any of these buildings. And when I went there, I met some of the architects who were doing this kind of building. They said there are more than 400 buildings. I met one architect called Anthony Walk, and who does CLT buildings. And he said he's going to construct a building which is 25 stories. It's in the design phase using CLT timber, which is there. So this was the tallest building done by the same firm, which is in London City, made out of timber, 9 stories. So that there are these experiments which we are not showing. So it's used in a very sustainable manner. So you don't have to depend on teak on high strength timber. You can use timbers like pine and try to use as a cross laminated. So the strength is much higher. And this is a building which is coming up. This will be the tallest building once it is completed. 24 stories building, 84 meter high. More than 80% is built with timber. They're given a coating to as a protective coating. So a little bit glass is there. Trying to minimize the use of concrete and steel. And it is called Ho Tower, and it's coming up in Vienna. There are hotel rooms, there are offices, etc. in this complex. So, it's a huge complex. This will be the tallest building, which is when it is completed, 24 stories, 84 meter. So these kind of experiments are happening. The problem in India now to use timber as in a widespread use is that our structural engineers and architects do not learn about timber in their curriculum. So they don't know about those aspects. So because of that, there is an issue, and I hope that people will realize that timber is the most sustainable building material, and such events like this will create more awareness among the professionals, and we are finding a new use to the timbers which are not normally used for construction, and as a whole the architectural profession, the building profession will be contributing to the sustainability efforts which the government and various people are taking. So this is my short presentation. So
Thank you. Thank you. So good to know about the Ho Ho Tower coming up in Vietnam, and about this Taurus building, which you talked about, the 24 stories. Yeah, I think 84 meters, right? And CLT, definitely.
it's coming up
Technology.
in Vietnam, in Austria, not in Vietnam. Sorry.
Okay, okay. Austria, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Fine. So, as like you say that architects and structural engineers need to learn more about how to use timber as a building material. It is one of the most sustainable materials. So there are a lot of perceptions, myths, notions about wood, which I would like to discuss with you after the presentation by our two other speakers and panelists. Architect Nilam Manjunath, I would like to welcome you to now present your topic as bamboo as a new wood.
Yeah. Thank you, Vatika.
Most
So
welcome.
I'll share my presentation. Yeah. Yeah. You can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So uh, I think that was a very nice presentation was by architect Benny, and uh, so I have been working with bamboo for I think almost like close to 22 years now. Somehow got introduced to it by chance, and then the rest for me has been a very historical journey. I would just start today. I will be simply touching on why I'm calling bamboo the new wood. I mean, bamboo is the fastest growing plant in the world, and it can grow up to 4 feet in 1 day. And so it also sequesters a lot of carbon, because the faster a tree grows, the more carbon it will actually absorb. And for our construction purpose, for the construction sector, it becomes ready in less than 3 years, which is the shortest cycle that any tree. It's not a tree; it's a grass, and we have several varieties. It has the shortest cycle in which you can start using the material. Another point in question is that you need to harvest it, you need to cut it. If you don't cut, then it's a problem. Unlike a tree where if you cut, then there is a problem, and it's like it's like a 20-30 years cycle. I think the minimal, the least cycle, which is at least about for silver oak, is about I think 7 years, if I'm not mistaken, 7 to 15 years. So that way, bamboo has the smallest cycle in which you can actually keep having the material. So this is a very resource efficient and sustainable material in that sense. It is also available in areas where the world has the largest populations, which is the tropics, subtropics, and subtemperate. So it's a very widely available material that way, and it has been being used by all classes and sections for a very long time till we had the the colonization that happened, and it fell into a poor man's timber because people from Europe actually wanted, they were not used to bamboo because it doesn't grow there. So for them, this was a symbol of poverty and of people who live below, like below them. And then so the higher class buildings were made with wood, though the technology was the same, and the poor class or the middle class would build with bamboo. And that's how bamboo actually fell out of choice, which actually used to be the material of the masses once upon a time. So that's the story of bamboo, and that's why bamboo should be actually taken as a serious alternative. These are two, three things, because we can grow trees, and of course, it is true that global warming can be only saved through trees, but then trees take a long time to grow, and bamboo takes much lesser time. So that's what makes it a very, very appropriate choice, for the construction sector. Another factor is that, when you say the energy balance between wood and bamboo, to process bamboo to make a particular element, as you can see, the energy is less than half of that of wood. It's almost like 80 and 30. Now, of course, from steel and concrete, it is even less, and it can replace even steel in certain places. So you can see the amount of energy that will be saved when we are, and the amount of forest that will be saved if you are using bamboo. These are some of the embodied energy of bamboo, wood, laminated bamboo boards, and laminated wood boards and other building materials, the comparative chart. It shows the carbon emissions and the energy usage. As you can see, bamboo is almost the least in most of these parameters of carbon dioxide emissions. And this is another factor which is there. Wood is rather stiff, but bamboo has a structure where it is flexible. On the right hand side, what you see, there are two sections of the wood. So wood is like soft outside and hard inside. So you have to process it to get the inner thing, and that's what is being used. In case of bamboo, it is the opposite. You have the hard portion outside, dense portion outside, and you have the softer portion inside, which makes it very suitable for very quick deployment in the construction sector for various purposes, like beam, column, this thing. You just cut with a very simple tool, and you have the building element available with you. So these things actually make bamboo a very desirable material. I wouldn't use the word desirable at this point. Maybe that could come in the end from the public, as I would say, appropriate material to be used in the building sector. And one more factor is that there are a lot of bamboo communities across tropics and tropical regions where there is a lot of poverty and there are a lot of homeless and houseless people. If this material is properly used and again brought back into circulation in the building sector, we would have solved the problem of several people for their housing and other things. So these are some of the factors, and human resource is also a huge resource. So that is something which also needs to be understood. And now I quickly will go through different usages of bamboo as wood. As you can see in various kinds of furnitures, from processed to round bamboo to ply, various kinds of very beautiful furnitures which can be made. You have various kinds of interiors in combination with others. You have these pavilions of different kinds that can be done with bamboo. Instead of steel and other things, we can actually use this. These are some structures. The top one is a prefab structure. We can use prefab bamboo structures. We have structures which you see on the left side. It is actually a collapsible structure, again, for disaster management. On the right side is a rehabilitation program that we had done in Hatbay, which quickly was done in less than a month by the locals itself. And then you have so much of different kinds of processed value-added bamboo products. You have roofing sheets, you have ply, you have flooring, you have veneer, you have strand boards. You can even have a laser cut this kind of a design. As you can see, there are lots of options that can be made out of bamboo. And some more, as you can see in the flooring, and the wall behind the bed actually is made from bamboo crete. So there's a bamboo inside there also, though. So you don't see it's like a different way of using bamboo, instead of all other things. And you can see the interior, which is in the Himachal Pradesh, which is on the top left, and of course the bamboo ply and the bamboo these things here. And there's different kinds of interiors, of all kinds, like different kinds can be done. These are some very big projects with bamboo on the interior elements again. The left one is a Madrid airport where it was used as a false ceiling by Richard Rogers way back, and I think still remains the largest use of bamboo in one single building so far. On the right hand side, on the left hand side, on the right hand side down, it is from Wotrong Nagya's one of the restaurants where round bamboo has been used and more traditional technology is used. On the top right, what you see is the Terminal 2 of Bangalore International Airport, the second airport in the world to use bamboo in interiors. And this is larger use of bamboo than the Madrid airport. But these are all processed bamboo. There's no round bamboo. And there's one problem which has happened. None of this is actually sourced from India, and that's a big pity. We really need to, pep up our bamboo industry in that case. Buildings, there are different kinds of buildings of different climatic zones. These are my projects, so I'm just showing them in different parts of the country that we have done. And these are larger structures. You have conference halls. We can do. We have proposed a metro station with bamboo, as you can see on the top left. And these are different kinds of conference halls at Dalbag University. The top right is actually another for Pegasus Institute of Excellence in Bangalore. And the same place we have done another hall so you can see a very different vocabulary with use of bamboo. And then of course bridges. There are lots of bridges which can be done with bamboo. The right down corner one is done by us. The others are by, you can see the top one right is by in China, made out of bamboo composites. And the left one, these are all from bamboo, round bamboo. And you can see different kinds, from traditional bamboo bridges to different kinds of things. Then you have a lot of bamboo products, which where the wood, as a bamboo wood, it has been used. You can see various options for household items. Now, bamboo bottles are very much in vogue, and everyone is, talking about it in the whole country. Paper from bamboo, it has been an ancient thing. Again, it has come in different forms. You have packaging from bamboo, as you can see, different kinds, and it is a very good. And this can be made from all bamboo waste, actually. Pencils, sticks made from bamboo, jewelry, all kind of jewelry from bamboo, wooden jewelry, children equipments, bamboo bikes. That is Bernice Thapa, who you see on the left, and she was on the UN, light workers program, and she has in Ghana. She has made a revolution by using these bamboo bikes, which are made primarily by women of Ghana. She has won several awards. She's one of our World Bamboo ambassadors, and she's been doing great job in doing it. It's really changed the whole economy of in her area. Then you have bamboo in the automobile sector in different dashboards of a BMW. These are from Daso, which is a company which has been using processed bamboo and promoting processed bamboo all across the world. You have wind turbine blades made out of bamboo. You have bamboo charcoal. I worked with a lady, artist who used to use wood charcoal earlier, and after she came in touch with me, she started using bamboo charcoal for all her creations. And this bamboo charcoal is also used for water purification. It has got very many other purposes. It is also used for various other purposes in place of wood. And these are all made from bamboo waste. And this is a miscellaneous even in landscape and all that, which it can be used. So bamboo is probably quite possible, the golden chicken amongst plants. With time and dedicated research, perhaps our future will be much brighter due to the widespread use of bamboo. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And it is always so interesting to listen to this bamboo lady of India, Neelam Manjunath. After meeting her, anybody will change something or the other to bamboo. I remember getting some of the very interesting, I think, jewelry elements bamboo, and I still have them and I use them. So, Madhu, if you
Great.
can tell me if Dr. MP Singh could join, because he tried joining several times, but
He is still trying. Connectivity issue is still there, but he's trying. Why don't you continue the discussion and I will keep trying.
yes, sure, sure, sure. So let me then go back to Dr. Benny Kuriakose, and I had some of the questions related to the misconceptions which we would say, or the perceptions related to timber, especially used for mass timber architecture. The common notion is about, if we are using so much of timber, then we are leading to deforestation of our resources, natural resources, and all that, right? Other notion is about fire hazards related to wood. Other one is about high cost when timber is used, and a lot more that I would like you to enlighten our audience about the perceived notions about timber used in architecture, and what is your point of view about them?
Yeah, I'll come to the notion. One very common misconception or wrong notion is that timber is not fire resistant. It is a very, very wrong notion. In fact, timber is it's a very good fire resistant material. Thin sections of timber will get burned, but the moment the bit thicker sections, they will never get burned in a fire. There will never be a structural collapse of a CLT frame building, because the way the timber is used and the way it happens. What happens when the fire comes is that there is a black coating coming on the outside as a protective coating, which is the burning itself, and the inside portions will never burn. This is what happens with timber. So all these timber sections are quite safe from a fire point of view. I'll just try to share some photographs of of one incident where I had to inspect a building where fire has been caught. I hope you can see the photograph.
Yes.
Yeah. So what happens, you can see the kind of damage which is there, but I just removed a thin section of the black coating on the outside, then the inside is in very good condition. So this is what happens. So it is a very, very wrong notion. If I just go to the next image, I can see, because I had to inspect this building and which has been completely caught fire. And what you see, I just removed a small section here, and the inside is perfectly in shape. So it is here also I just removed a thin layer, and I just found the timber to be very good in shape. The smaller sections get burned, but the thicker sections never get burned. So that is, here also you can see, it will look very scary, but there will not be any accidents as such. This is a very proven fact across, but even the fire officers have this. They think that timber building, timber staircase, how can you have a fire? In a hospital, for example, there is a hospital building which I'm asked to inspect, advise on. The fire officer has said that the building is unsafe because it has a timber staircase. It's an old building, so they just refer to me. So I said I will make out the arguments for it. Now, coming to the durability, as I said earlier, it is if insects and fungal attack doesn't come, timber will last forever, because nothing can destroy timber. But insects, there are so many varieties of insects. You can treat insects. You watch out on the building, then you will be able to take precautions against it. Termites were very common in the old buildings, as well as there in new buildings as well. But there are treatment methods available. There are 2,000 varieties of termites. People think that once they treat the ground with the pesticides, you will be free against termites. What I would like to bring to the attention is there are flying termites. different species of termites. So even if you treat the ground, still termites can come and attack the timber. So I don't want to go because it's a very elaborate topic, although I deal with the conservation of timber in many of the projects, which is there. The other thing is the fungal attack. Fungal attack will come only when there is moisture. The timber moisture content in newly, cut timber, the fresh cut timber will be 60%. That is why you do seasoning. Reduce the moisture content in the natural timber to say 12 to 16% or 18%. So a dry timber is very safe against fungal attack. But if there is a leakage of the roof, moisture comes, or it's an area where constant moisture comes with the rain or some other reason, then the fungal attack happens. So generally, if there is a lack of ventilation, ventilation is very critical. But just because of humidity, the moisture will be there in timber. But if there is good ventilation, then timber is quite so. So many of the timber damages occur when in spaces where there is no ventilation. So it is a very durable material. And just talking about the CLT also, we use plywood in India, but all the plywoods in India, I think to my knowledge, is manufactured. The glue which is used is a glue which is called formaldehyde, which is a carcinogen. You don't get non-formaldehyde, this thing. But the CLT timber, it's available in India in very limited quantities. There are some foreign companies selling it in India. CLT is made with non-toxic glue. So there is the eco-friendliness is there in terms of, so all these CLT buildings which I have shown the photographs are made with non-toxic glue. So it's very eco-friendly, health-friendly, environment-friendly, but trees should not be, you should not cut down virgin forest and use the timber for construction. I can also use recycled timber, which are from the buildings which are being demolished. We use recycled timber extensively in our projects, which is also one of the things could be done. So you are not cutting down the forest, then it is very, and you grow more. And I've calculated that for 1,000 square feet building, if 4 or 5 fully grown trees are there, it becomes eco-friendly. And there are studies which shown, for example, the CLT timber, they say it takes about 30 years for the building to achieve zero carbon. Whereas even for the platinum rated building, it will be much more than that. So, there are studies done, but still ignorance is something which I think we don't use timber in our buildings. And one advantage of the timber is that it will replace concrete and steel, because Ho Tower is 24 stories high and it's nearing completion. So that advantage is there for the timber. We are not talking small scale spans, and there are a lot of large span buildings, 80 feet wide spans and etc. use timber structures, but our structural engineers do not design timber trusses.
So, as you have talked about the Ho Tower and the Taurus Tower and all that, what kind of work is happening in India?
In India, I think CLT timber, I'm not aware of any major work. There are some, although I say that it is in a very limited scale, it's happening. Some of the foreign companies are in touch, trying to touch with me and other people, definitely with others as well, to see whether this can be quite successful. So I told them, when the one Dutch company got in touch with me recently, I told them, because I'm not a structural engineer, unless structural engineers come forward to design these things, it will not be, you will market the material, but nobody will use it in India. So otherwise, you'll have to come with the structural engineering know-how also, which is there. Some of the factory buildings, the pre-engineered buildings, structural engineers are not involved. The companies who sell it does the design. It's like a design and build. And all these CLT timber, everything is prefabricated. The doors, windows, everything. They cut all the holes. It's just like the panel construction. Everything is factory produced. So the cost could be slightly higher in India. So, but the awareness of the general public is increasing. Now,
Hmm.
there are generally a small percentage of the Indian public or the Indian house building or the building people are willing to spend extra 10% if their building is green. That
Hmm.
slow awareness is slowly coming up. It was not there 10 years ago.
Okay.
Everybody looked up. Finally, when it comes to the economics, they don't want to go green. But
Hmm.
now there is a younger generation. I think it will be Morley who says, no, we are willing to spend 10% extra, 15% extra. We want our house to be sustainable. We want to make minimum damage to the environment. With those things, I think it's a question of time. Slowly, it will pick up in India.
That's a positive sign. So wonderful knowing all these things. I would also like to know about how to imbibe all these talks that we are doing into the education system and all that. So this question will be to both of you. But before that, I would like to ask architect Neelam Manjunath. Why do you think, like, I've seen you working so much with bamboo since so many years. Why do you think bamboo has not yet fully been accepted despite of so much of effort, despite of so much of, the value that the bamboo as material provides, gives, and we as India know this material since ages. Why has this bamboo has not been fully or, properly accepted yet?
I think some part of this answer Dr. Benny has already given. I think what holds for wood also holds for bamboo. People think it's not fireproof, which is again a wrong notion, because just like wood, bamboo is also fireproof. And in addition to wood, it also has this silica as the outer coat in bamboo, which is actually one ingredient which is used for fire retardant. So it chars on the outside, and and bamboo generally has, we always have around 20%, less than 20%, up to 20% moisture. We keep it in the sections that we actually use for our buildings. It's not dry bamboo. So dry bamboo catches fire. And if you use if it is the ends of the bamboo, which if they are left, in the design, if it is not properly done from the ends, it can catch fire. So but these design nuances, nobody is really ready to put themselves into that. So that is one factor. And again, one additional factor to wood in bamboo, case of bamboo, as I said, is the temporariness, that label that has been attached to bamboo as the poor man's timber and the temporary character. You see bamboo everywhere. You have a bamboo bazaar, and you have all these kind of things. And what you see around twice, it's like familiarity breeds contempt. So when
Hmm.
you have too much things around you, you actually don't value it, and you do not know. That is another factor. And the poor man's label that has been actually, put on bamboo, that has been really damaging. And one more factor which I would say are the people who have been trying to use it, bamboo. If you, some of the presentations, if you see, they will say, okay, I saw this bamboo building in India. They will show one picture, and then they will show another building of bamboo in Bali. They show another picture, and they will say, I wanted to bring that to India. See, the thing is,
Hmm.
this is not the way to promote bamboo.
Hmm.
Bamboo is supposed to be for buildings. It is not just supposed to be for five-star hotels and resorts and things like that. We want why are we actually talking about bamboo and sustainable materials? Because we need to build for the masses.
Hmm.
And to build for the masses, you need a material which can be used at that kind of a cost and that kind of a, way, which actually climatologically how it is supposed to be used. As Dr. Benny was showing, it is wood is used with all other materials. Similarly, bamboo to be used with other materials. It used to be used like that. But we have this very, sorry to use this European Western concept of showing that I'm doing a bamboo building. So you have a lot of bamboo all around your thing, and and your building looks very golden and this thing. So that is something which is not long lasting. So that is further adding to the temporary label that is being put to bamboo. And I mean, it's become a trend, you know. In India, we cannot have all bamboo buildings in most of the part of the India. No, it can be, you know, like on the hills, like in the eastern, northeastern states, and some other, you know, like hill stations. In Kerala also we can have, because there's humidity out there. But we can't have in Madhya Pradesh. You can't have in Maharashtra the way it is built in Kerala or in Northeast, or the way it is built in Bali. So this is something which is very funny kind of a thing which has come into it, and there's this fashionable label of Bali buildings. It's called like a Bali label. You go and ask a Balinese person, is that the way to live in a bamboo house? It actually is not. That is not Balinese architecture. So who are you building for? This, $1 million, you know, and you won't believe if I tell you the cost of construction of this Bali building. In 2015, when I visited, it was 15,000 rupees a square feet without the furnishing cost.
Oh God.
Now, do you think we could be promoting you bamboo for usage in such kind of a constructions? I mean, come on. This is something which you can have only few buildings. And then what will happen? The poor people will sell their bamboo because bamboo will become costly. And then again, they will go and live in those asbestos roof concrete houses again. But to them, we want to give safe houses and sustainable houses, which we will not be able to give. It's like shooting down, like what we started with. So this is something which is somehow, bamboo people think is temporary. So upar mein, on the rooftop, they will want one small thing, or they want a balcony, or they want a this thing, but nobody wants a proper bamboo house, because there are not many architects, or there are not many people who want to give you that also. Everyone wants to use bamboo, like the word even bamboo architecture. They have labeled a work called bamboo architecture. It is architecture with bamboo. There's nothing bamboo architecture or bamboo architect. They have labeled me as a bamboo architect, which is really short down my practice, whole professional practice. I don't get any other building. All other buildings of lakh square feet goes to other architects and junior architects. I will be asked to do one small clubhouse or a restaurant in the whole complex. I mean, come on, that's not the way to use bamboo. And this is something which is really been taxing, very taxing. Sorry to be.
No
I mean,
doubt.
I just go on. if I
I can understand. I'm seeing you
yeah.
working so much with this material and educating so much. Also, I would like you to throw a little bit of light on processed bamboo, like the way that you see it, that the sides, the corners of the bamboo need to be enclosed. The moisture part is so important as a material, because if the moisture content is not there, there are going to be issues. It cannot be used in MP, I'm sure, for those reasons. It can be used in Kerala and the northeastern part for the same reason, right? So these are the so many finer aspects of thing bamboo that you have shared right now. But I would like to know, what is processed bamboo, and how does the character of this material changes when it is processed, and how does the possibility change with that?
Actually, that it's a very good material, even with a little value addition. The roofing sheets with bamboo, I think it's an absolutely excellent product which can replace all your aluminum and asbestos and all those kind of roofing sheets. And as Dr. Benny was saying, that formaldehyde thing, there also it is there, but I think they have taken some care about it. But that formaldehyde resin, in the resin, they have some formaldehyde even there. But it's not as bad as the asbestos sheet or something. It is much less, much more durable, much lighter, and I mean they are and very very light to use. So these are some, and very durable. So that is something which is can be a very good product for mass housing, for people, for sheds, for industries. It can be used for that. So that is one very good value addition added product. Unfortunately, we have only one factory today which is
Okay.
unable to supply the material, and I have placed an order in 2011, for a temple, I still have not got it. And they have not even returned the
2011,
money.
you are saying
So if there is a
2011?
kind of promotion that is happening, yeah, yes. And that was for a temple where the destitute, as well as a dining hall for destitutes, for which from the temple money I have given the money, they have not even returned the money. And I put them on to this the railways through one of my contacts. So they are doing producing whatever they produce to the railways at a very high exorbitant cost. So it is hardly available to the public. We need at least 5 to 10 factories like that. Probably, I think Kerala they had started for the roofing. They are doing very good work. Kerala has got a very good bamboo factory there for producing sheets and things. I have been buying from them from like 1999 so far. Very good quality and very good reliable products from there. So their sheets, their ply, that is another thing. You also have many other, and they have a lot of potential for doors, the panel of the doors, furniture, I mean, flooring, false ceilings. They are there. There is one product which I would not very much vouch for, that is bamboo wood. They pulp the bamboo. So the bamboo wood actually loses the property of bamboo in that way. They
Okay,
pulp and they make it into blocks, and it is exorbitant. It's
got it.
exorbitantly priced. It's I
Mm-hmm.
think 3 times I think of teak.
Oh.
So to promote a product like that, it will really become very difficult,
Mm-hmm.
to really use by anybody for that matter. You can't really ask anyone to use that kind of a material. So that is something these are, but they have very good potential. And CLT from bamboo is another product which actually it will make it very strong because bamboo fibers are one of the strongest. But fiber strength is very high in more than steel for that matter of bamboo. So CLT from bamboo, not I would say timber, I mean CLB, you can call it or whatever. That would be something which will really laminated bamboo,
Yes.
beams and columns can become a very good building block for very high story buildings.
Mm-hmm.
But there's one word of caution. I think in Maharashtra, through the bamboo mission, there were around 42 or 43 hostels were made from bamboo sheets, bamboo ply sheets as walls. Now you can imagine that at the temperature of about 52, 53, 54 degrees centigrade, what would happen about the emissions? And this was for the children, the hostel building,
Okay.
buildings,
Mm.
in that belt of Gadchiroli and all that area. So with that heat, if you try, that's why I said in Madhya Pradesh you cannot use bamboo the way you use in other places, or in Maharashtra in that very high, like close to Chandrapur and all that. You can't actually use it. And there are people who are trying to promote bamboo ply as roofing, as walls, and they are on CNN, they are on BBC, they are everywhere, and they are saying prefab housing. This is not prefab housing. Come on, this is not usable. So just to promote an industry, if you're trying to do something like that, after
Mm.
some time people will realize it, right? Then it will fall from grace. It should not happen. And as a responsible architect, as a responsible person, where the bamboo sector is still trying to manage to, you know, promote bamboo, if we do these kind of mistakes, it will be really bad actually for the sector. Really
True.
bad for the sector.
Very
But
true.
otherwise, bamboo ply, bamboo roofing, bamboo flooring, they are great products, absolutely. And there's a huge market for them. There's a huge market,
Surely, surely.
huge
So
market.
thank you so much for this. As we are concluding, I would like to have your both of your final messages for to the industry, to the architects and designers, and to the institutes, the education institutes on World Wood Day related to timber and bamboo. But before that, I would like to know from you one thing, Dr. Kuriakose, if you can share. How do you think academics and real practice, how do you think they can be bridged together? We discussed a bit before the event started, but I would like to know your message for the institutes and all, for bridging the use and all that, so that young generation catches up with that?
See, one of the problems that we have is that the changes which is happening in the industry,
Mm.
in the construction industry, to get it reflected in our curriculum is 2 decades or 3 decades. That is one major issue. The second problem that we have in the educational system is that most of the faculty, I'm not blaming any particular person, most of the faculty doesn't have the practical experience in construction or trying to get the use of these materials. The third issue is the practitioners themselves are responsible because they try to mystify. I'm telling, including me, all of us try to mystify what we are trying to do or say as if we are doing something very great. I mean, it's nothing great because our craftsmen have been doing all these things all these years. We just only try to put it into a kind of format so that we are using it. So the profession themselves is the practitioners themselves are responsible for mystifying certain things, might be for some short-term gains. And another mistake which the practitioners, all these things, we always try to see it as an alternate stream. And we never try to become part of the mainstream.
Mainstream. Right.
Unless we become part of the mainstream, we will not be able to influence the majority of the students or the faculty or this thing. We always will be seen as alternate stream kind of thing. Whereas I think so. I think what as a person and my practice, we are trying to become part of the mainstream. In the last few years, we have been making a conscious attempt to be part of the mainstream. So the kind of projects that now we take up apartments and interiors and commercial buildings, which we never used to take. So even in the kind of influence that you do in that project, in a small way, is a great step forward in convincing the future generation or younger generation. I think that responsibility is to be there with all the senior practitioners, which has to be there. And also that instead of demystifying and things, all the senior practitioners should come out openly and try to popularize what they have been doing instead of trying to keep it as a kind of secret in inverted commas. And in this attempt, people like you, it's the era of the social media and the digital media. You all have about, I will say that the practitioners are very bad communicators, or we are very bad in communication, or I always say that 99% of Agar doesn't know how to talk even, which you would have realized. So it's the role of the people like the digital media and the social media are very, very important in the coming years. And but I'm very optimistic as far as these things. Things are happening at a much faster rate, and I hope things will improve quite a bit fast.
Definitely.
This is an issue which we only faces. It is there in Europe. It is there in the US. The question which you raised is there everywhere. It's all over the world. It's not something which is limited to India or a crisis which India is facing. I face the same questions when I'm talking to architects in other countries.
So you've put the onus on the professionals, and you have also mentioned that yes, media has a very important role to play in bridging that gap. So, Architect Nilam Manjunath, what is your opinion? What is your opinion about this, and your final message on the World Wood Day?
Okay, so one is that again, I think Dr. Benny has already covered, I think, some part of that thing as he was telling. So demystifying, I think that's very important. Sharing with people what we are doing. And I'm very happy to share that I have been sharing from day one. Because when I started working with bamboo, I realized there was no data on bamboo at all. And I realized why it is not that. Of course, it doesn't grow in Europe and America. So, and in our country, nobody is bothered, nobody has the money, and nobody has the time to really have the database prepared for a material like bamboo, which is grown, not even grown by farmers by that time. It was like in the forest and like a waste thing. It used to come. It comes in the bamboo bazaar like a nobody's business. So that was one. So standardization, database requirement, which some organizations and institutions and universities need to do, like INBAR and NBM. We need a lot of data on bamboo that needs to be put out there for the designers and architects to use. A lot of training programs are required, and of course academia and practice. There are very few people practicing architecture with bamboo. There are more people practicing bamboo architecture,
Mm.
which needs to be, again, the difference really needs to be understood. I think that is something which also, for example, I'll tell you, we do workshops.
Yeah.
Workshops mean they will just try to quickly do something. नहीं, पैसा कम है, 2 दिन में कुछ बना के दे दीजिए. Like, so this actually is enhancing the temporary character को कि तुम फटाफट कुछ करके बना दो, चाहे वो होता है या नहीं होता है. It's like,
Mhm.
so these are certain things which, proper skill development, proper, and another point which Dr. Benny was telling, that is very relevant, that we are only actually learning from the people who have been using these materials for a very long time. I mean, I learn a lot from them, and we are just putting into a format, frankly speaking, because most of the advancements or something is based on what people were doing already earlier for such a long time, because building materials
Mm.
don't start on a day like in the
Yeah.
lab,
Right. Right.
and they have to prove themselves over a whole long period of time.
Ages.
So that is
Mm.
something I think which was very important, that we bring these artisans
Mm.
who don't have the university certificates with them
Mhm.
about their skill, but I think they are as much as a, you can say, university professor, when they
Yeah.
are these things, kind of things needed. So recognition of prior learning to
Mm.
them and taking them into our academics is one big part that we actually need to do, especially when we are dealing with wood, mud, stone, bamboo, and such materials which are not factory produced. So
Mm.
these are like traditional materials, which and there will be somebody using it for 4 generations, and they would know a lot of nuances about bamboo. We would not know many things about bamboo. I do not know. I have been learning from them from day one. I mean, how to use
Mm.
bamboo. So that also needs to be brought into the academics.
Mm.
And of course, we have to have the Council of Architecture and other organizations, like the Institute of Engineers, chemical engineers,
Absolutely.
for
Mm.
treatment and things. All these we need to have a very concentrated thing to produce a database which will build confidence in the architects and designers. So that will probably bring much more. It will bring bamboo in much more practice, and
Mm.
for these, it's very easy to do for the value-added bamboo products, which is like ply, and because they are also slightly processed and factory produced. But the round bamboo, which is the most promising material, that is so, the variety is so much, its dia decreases from bottom to top, because it is not like a pipe.
Mm.
The color
Right.
changes and the
Mm.
density changes. It's a challenge to design with that. It
Mm.
comes only with over a period of time from starting from new. It should be introduced into the curriculum right from second year
That's the
onwards.
point. That's the
I
point
think
I wanted to
that's
hear.
very important to be used as a structure. Yeah,
Mm.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So that is something which is very, I think, important. With that, I think we should be able to bridge the gap, between the, and of course the industry should be doing relevant research relevant to the market,
Mm.
not in alone.
Mm.
We had been having a lot of discussion with CBRI Roorkee, and the director has been always telling, that I have hundreds and thousands of data lying in files which scientists have done, gone, retired, and they're just lying there. And again, somebody comes, he starts with another research questions and he starts doing it because he or she fancies that. But the person who is fancying and doing a PhD is not a practitioner, as Dr. Benny was pointing out. So he's an academician. So he has never worked with a material in the way the other practitioner would have
Right,
done. So
right,
that gap is something which is very important to fill what is
right.
actually exactly required. So there has to be these groups, committees which have all kinds of representations from people and
Hmm,
make a kind of a comprehensive data bank available to get much
hmm,
confidence in the material of the
hmm,
for the new students and new generations and
hmm.
people like that. I think that would be something very important. And
Absolutely.
regarding that
Hmm,
one message,
hmm,
I would like to say respect bamboo. Nobody respects it
hmm.
because when you respect a material, you use it with reverence.
Yes.
You have to love bamboo to use bamboo. And that is something very, very important with all natural materials. I'm not just talking about
Hmm,
bamboo. All natural materials need that reverence. And only
hmm,
then, and as architects, again talking about mainstream, I realized this, like I was doing some 15, 20 lakh square feet construction projects, and suddenly I started using bamboo and I got down to 100 square feet gazebos and about 200 square feet balconies and prefab structures on the rooftop. And my practice got finished.
hmm,
Then I said, how do I mainstream bamboo when I am not mainstream?
hmm.
I have to be mainstream first. And so the way Dr. Benny, I think we share that thing that I started thinking that no, we have to use it in different kinds of projects also. I mean, we have to do architecture with bamboo
Hmm.
in a very different way to make it mainstream. So even if there's a 30% penetration of bamboo in the project, I'm happy. I'm absolutely happy
Hmm.
because you are making inroads somewhere. People
Hmm.
are
Hmm.
around bamboo, people are around wood, so they
Hmm.
realize that touching a wood or bamboo handrail and you're touching a MS or aluminum handrail in your own house. There's a lot of difference. You
Lot
the
of
tactile
difference.
sense
Hmm.
or the tactile feel is very different.
Yes, yes, yes.
And that will happen only when you start putting these small interventions. So
Hmm.
I started also using that same tactics with Dr. Benny was sharing, and
Hmm.
that's how I got my practice slightly back from there
Very,
on.
very good.
Yeah.
Very, very
So
good.
that is the thing.
And
Thank you so
I
much.
wish that not only your practice, but your work
Thank you.
that you are doing with bamboo goes far and wide, and everybody, we as media, will be supporting you, coming together. Tell us when to, do anything
Yeah,
which
we
can
need your
connect
support.
others. 100%, 100%
Yeah.
will be there for
Yeah.
timber, for bamboo, for all natural materials and traditional materials, and especially bringing in the artisans who are the real craftsmen, the real people, the real architects, I would say, who know the real designers of everything, right? So bringing people together, because I think the major gap is, where people who are studying it and having no idea of the practice, and those who are practicing and knowing so much are not giving it back to the people who really need to know and learn and grow from there. Anyway, so I think it was an extremely relevant discussion so far, and this discussion cannot just stop on or happen on just an wood day or something. It should go much beyond, and let's carry it forward. So with this, I would like to tell Madhu to please, propose the vote of thanks for the day. We really did miss Dr. MP Singh, and if you're listening, and if you're able to see us, whenever you see us, know that we will be inviting you
Okay.
in the coming, sessions, and definitely would like to hear from you. Yes, Madhu.
Okay. Unfortunately, Dr. Singh could not join us on Zoom today, but he is there with me on phone right now. So, and he would like to share a message definitely. So,
Okay,
I
okay.
will ask Dr. Singh to share his message. I hope you can hear. Dr. Singh, are you able to hear us?
Yeah, yeah. Thank you,
Yes.
Madhu, and very good morning to all the panelists and all the participants. I was not able to come online, especially because of the connectivity, internet connectivity. I am traveling out of Bangalore. But I really wish that more and more people join to listen to our views, that we really need to move to the very sustainable material in the building, and in other aspect also. That is why day before yesterday we organized a symposium on wood as a building material, and what Madam Manjunath is trying is even difficult than that also. That is the bamboo. So these are the very good options. We really should move towards the sustainable material, because we have been recklessly using aluminum, steel, and such other materials which has so much of carbon footprint, and they are all non-renewable resources. So, and they indirectly are impacting the forest also, because they are the raw materials for them are or come from the forest. You will see so much of pressure on the forest for the iron ore mining. So in such a way, I just want to give a message that we all need to, all the stakeholders need to think afresh that if we really want to contribute towards the climate change mitigation, then we really need to go for the sustainable material, because wood not only and the bamboo not only fixes the carbon, but it also is reversible, and it can even its life cycle also, the carbon emission is the lowest, even it is negative. That means it fixes carbon, not that it emits carbon. So compared to any other material, this is the best option available to the mankind. So wherever we are, it is possible, we should go for such kind of material, so that we reduce the carbon footprint and we contribute to the climate change. Not only that, we will be contributing towards the poverty alleviation also, because all the farmers, they will get benefited, the small stakeholders, they will get benefited, because these all materials, you can say, it gets connected with so many unorganized sector also. So many people are dependent on this. So if we really move in this direction, we will do a great service to the mankind, to the environment. So on this day of International Forest Day, we all should make a resolve that we will make awareness, we will inspire other people in doing such things. Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you, Dr. Singh. Thank you, Dr. Singh. That was amazing. That was amazing to find you at the end, and with so much of effort, you have yet joined and shared your message. Lot of respect for that, and definitely looking forward for a face-to-face, virtual or physical interaction in the future. Yes, Madhu, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, I think Dr. Singh has pretty much summed up what I also wanted to say. And today on the 21st of March, which is also the World Wood Day as well as International Day of Forests. So on behalf of PLY Reporter and Surfaces Reporter, we organized this talk session for awareness about the various aspects of wood. I would like to thank architect Nilam Manjunath. You continue to inspire us every day with your continued effort, endeavor towards green building materials such as bamboo. More power to you. Thank you, Dr. Benny, for your insights and for sharing your amazing work and projects with us today, and the passion that you exude towards a holistic, sustainable approach, as well as we have noted a lot of important points about the gap that we need to bridge between education and the seniors. And finally, I would also like to thank Dr. MP Singh once again for accepting our invite and for joining us today, and for sharing such valuable inputs with our audiences. So as we conclude, once again, as Dr. Singh also said, let us pledge to remember and respect wood, bamboo beyond this day and protect our planet by preserving our environment, forests, and once again, on behalf of Surfaces Reporter and PLY Reporter, happy World Wood Day to all of you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hello, sir.
Thank you so
Hello,
much.
Singh, sir.
Thank you so much. It was amazing. It was amazing having both of you and Dr. MP Singh. Looking forward to know more from you and staying updated. Media needs to be updated to ensure that,
Thank you so
ensure
much.
that we
Thank you
do
so much. It was
relevant for
amazing. It was amazing
media.
having both of you and Dr. MP Singh.
Looking forward to know more from you and staying updated. Media needs to be updated to ensure that. Okay, so we are out of the live session now. We are out of the live session now.
Yeah.
Thank you again. And definitely, whatever we have discussed, we will create a write up on that, and we'll have it on our magazines, both the magazines. And we might need some more inputs in terms of some of the images, some more context to whatever questions we have further, so that we can really build a good article out of it.
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you
Yes.
so much.
Media, we really
Thanks,
need.
Vatika. Thanks, Madhurima. Thanks,
Media